The Global Sinnoh Tour is just a couple days away, and I want to make sure you guys take full advantage of the event and truly have a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So today we're running through all the tips and tricks for this event. If you want to know what's going on during this event, by the way, check out the video up here and then come back to this one. I break down every single event detail, but let's stop wasting your time and get right into the tips. So first thing to mention, of course, is going to be talking about the different habitats and spawns we have during the event and what are the best Pokemon to really focus your catches on. Let's get into it, starting with, of course, the bustling boardwalk habitat going down from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. What are the best spawns? Starting off with Magnemite, which evolves into Magnezone. Shadow Magnezone has been seeing some play in the Great League and Great League PvP tournaments, as well as Magnezone and Shadow Magnezone being a very good electric type raid attacker. Next up, we have Ralts, which can evolve into Gardevoir. Gardevoir is going to be a good fairy type raid attacker, also one of the best mega fairy type raid attacking Pokemon. And also Gardevoir will see some play in some limited Great League cups. If it is a male Ralts, you can also evolve it into Gallade, which Gallade does see play in some limited Great League cups like the Willpower Cup, and also Gallade does have a Mega Form in the future, which could be worth getting a good IV for. We also have Piplup, which evolves into Empoleon. Empoleon is good in the Ultra League. Starly's in there, which evolves into Staraptor. Staraptor is a good flying type raid attacking Pokemon in the game. Bidoof is in there, which Bidoof can potentially be a Ditto disguise. If you want to potentially catch a Ditto during the Sinnoh Tour, catch those Bidoofs. Burmy the Trash Cloak is in there, which evolves into Wormadam in the Trash Cloak, which is good in some Great League limited cups like the Love Cup. The Shellos in the West Sea and East Sea form are in there, which evolves into Gastrodon, which does see play in some limited cups like the Hisui or the Sinnoh Cup. Drifloon is in there, which evolves into Drifblim, a great League Pokemon, a great Ultra League Pokemon, and also has play in limited Great League cups like the Halloween Cup. Next up, the Ancient Grove habitat from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. We'll see Hisuian Voltorb, which evolves into Hisuian Electrode, which does see play in some limited Great League cups like the Electric Cup. Eevee's in there, which you could evolve into Umbreon. Umbreon is good in the Great League and the Ultra League, but you could also evolve Eevee into Sylveon, which is a good fairy type raid attacking Pokemon and also good in the Master League Premier Cup. Roselia is in there, which evolves into Roserade. Roserade is a good budget grass and poison type raid attacking Pokemon and also does see play in the Master League Premier Cup. Combee is in there, which Combee does get you a base of 750 Stardust every time you catch it, so you want extra Stardust during the event, catch those Combees. Finally, Bronzor is in there, which evolves into Bronzong, which is good in the Psychic Cup, and also Bronzor itself is a beast in the Little Cup. Definitely a good Pokemon to grab for that, the 500 CP Cup. Next up, the Toxic Digs habitat going down from 12 to 1 p.m. and 4 to 5 p.m. First of all, Gligar's in there, which Gligar is one of the best Great League Pokemon right now, and you can also evolve into Gliscor, which does have play in both the Great League and the Ultra League. Shinx is in there, which evolves into Luxray, not a bad electric type raid attacking budget Pokemon, and also Luxray is alright in the Great League and limited Great League cups like the Electric Cup. Cranidos is in there, which evolves into Ramparados, one of the best rock type raid attacking Pokemon in the game right now, definitely worth grabbing that, and Shieldon as well, which evolves into Bastiodon, one of the best Great League Pokemon. Stunky is in there, which evolves into Skuntank. Skuntank is good in both the Great League and the Ultra League. Gibble's in there, which evolves into Garchomp. Garchomp does, of course, have a Mega Form in the game, but also the base form of Garchomp is a good ground type raid attacker, a good dragon type raid attacker, and also a beast in the Master League. Skorupi's in there, which evolves into Drapion. Drapion is good in both the Great League and the Ultra League. And finally, Krogunk is in there, which evolves into Toxicroak. Toxicroak is a decent poison type raid attacking Pokemon and also good in both the Great League and the Ultra League. Finally, the Geothermal Lagoon habitat from 1 to 2 p.m. and 5 to 6 p.m. We'll see Lickitung in the spawn pool. Lickitung is one of the best Great League safe swaps right now. Definitely a Pokemon worth grabbing. Rhyhorn is in there, which evolves into Rhyperior. Rhyperior is a good rock type raid attacking Pokemon, a good ground type raid attacking Pokemon, and also good in the Master League. Eevee is in there as well, which we already talked about that Pokemon in another habitat, but that moves us to Togetic, which evolves into Togekiss. Togekiss is good in the Master League and is a fairy type raid attacker. Murkrow is in there, which evolves into Honchkrow, which is a decent budget flying and dark type raid attacking Pokemon. Hisuian Quillfish is in there, which does see play in some limited cups like the Halloween Cup. Hisuian Sneasel's in there, which evolves into Sneasler, a decent Ultra League Pokemon and also good in some limited cups like the Hisui Cup. Swinub's in there, which evolves into Mamoswine, one of the best ice and ground type raid attacking Pokemon and also good in the Master League. Snorunt is in there, which evolves into Glalie. Glalie does have a Mega Form in the game right now, and if you catch a female version of Snorunt, you can evolve that into Frostlass, which is good in the Great League. Veneeri is in there, which evolves into Lopunny, which of course Lopunny does have a Mega in the game right now. And finally, Snover evolving into Abomasnow, a good Great League Pokemon, a good Ultra League Pokemon, and also does have a Mega Form. Overall, a lot of great spawns during this event. Also, if all follows suit, Uxie, Azelf, and Mesprit should be spawning in the wild during this event. Although none of them are actually very meta relevant at all, it is still cool to catch legendaries in the wild wild, and they can also be shiny in the wild. So try to catch those. Those can be really rare trade bait Pokemon, but they're not really meta relevant. That moves us into the incense spawns. When you run an incense during the event, and it's definitely worth running an incense, you'll be able to encounter unknown Hinnos and U during this event. Although none of the unknowns are actually meta relevant, these are some of the rarest shinies in Pokemon Go, and you can get a lot of value out of trading for them. So make sure you run incense during the whole event, not daily adventure incense, regular incense, and catch as many shiny unknowns as you can. They will be rare, they won't be good, but again, just super rare shinies, and they help you with a certain metal, which we'll talk about later. But that moves us into the raids. What are the best raids during this event? We have the regular raids and then the space-time distortion raids. Let's start with the regular raids and what are the best ones. In the 1 stars and 3 stars, we have Turtwig, Chimchar, Piplup, Torterra, Infernape, and Empoleon. Overall, none of these are great to go after. You can probably skip those. But we have Altered Form of Dialga, first of all, which is a beast in the Master League and also a good Dragon-type raid attacker. Then we'll have also Altered Form of Palkia, which is good in the Master League and also good as a Dragon-type raid attacker. Overall, you can't go wrong with doing Dialga or Palkia raids, Origin or regular during this event. But then during the Space-Time Distortion raids, which by the way are only going down during the Ancient Grove and Geothermal Lagoon habitats, we'll see Cyndaquil, Oshawott, Rowlet, Hisuian Typhlosion, Hisuian Samurott, and Hisuian Decidueye. Overall, again, none of these are really that great to go after, as they've all been featured throughout the whole past season. You probably shouldn't be wasting your time on them, and also none of them are really good. But in the main raids, we're going to see Origin Form of Dialga in the first place, which is going to be a beast of a Master League Pokemon, even better than the Altered Form, and also a good Dragon and Steel type raid attacking Pokemon. We'll also see Origin Form of Palkia in there, which again is going to be super strong in the Master League and also good as a Dragon type raid attacker. The Origin Forms are better than the Altered Forms with the current movesets, but again, I would still grab both. Just do a Palkia or Dialga raid when you see them. They're great Pokemon. I also will say this for anyone who's going to be in a rural area during this event, make sure you download an app like Pokegenie, Pokebattler, or join a bunch of raiding discords because you can invite people around the world to your remote raids. Remember, there is no cap on remote raids during this event. They're actually removing the cap just for this event. So you can do as many remote raids as you want. And if you have an app like Pokegenie, you can be hosting these raids and still taking them down, even if you're in the middle of nowhere. I'll link below a video on how to use those apps and how to host remote raids when you're in rural areas, but definitely do that. Finally, I'll mention if you want these legendaries and you can't raid for some reason, I do believe if you're past rank 20 in PvP and you do get one of those PvP encounters during this event, there is a chance for it to be one of the Dialgas or Palkias. It's just a theory, but again, if you can't raid at all, you could try to do some PvP sets during the day, although it's not a good use of your time. Try to get a legendary from PvP rewards. Now, something that everybody has been asking me recently is about the badges. During this event, you're going to have the option to choose between a Diamond and a Pearl badge, each relating to the different versions of the main series Pokemon games. The difference between these two badges will be, different encounters from the research during the event, but overall it won't make a big change. But the real big change is going to be the bonus you get from choosing each of the badge. If you choose the Diamond badge, you're going to have a higher chance to encounter a Dialga in the Origin form that knows its legacy move, Roar of Time. If you choose the Pearl badge, you will have a higher chance to catch a Palkia in the Origin form that knows its legacy move, Spatial Rend. That's going to be the big difference. Let's talk about which badge is better. Okay, so Roar of Time, if you don't know, is an adventure effect you can use for Stardust and Dialga candy that will go ahead and pause the timers on your instances, daily instances, lucky eggs, and star pieces, pretty much allowing you to use those items, but the timer doesn't keep going down. Spatial Rend is going to be an adventure effect you can use for 5,000 Stardust and 5 Palkia candies, which will increase the amount of distance you can see spawns from. If you remember that glitch we had last summer where you could see spawns double, it's pretty much that, but you can pay Stardust and candy for it. Overall, which one's going to be better? I think the Dialga adventure effect is going to be more of a gimmick. Pausing your premium items is cool, but also at the same time, you could just buy more premium items. I think the only really advantage of the Roar of Time effect is to just go ahead and pause daily adventure instance so you have a higher chance to find Galarian birds. But I think after you've done that a couple times, it's not going to get as fun anymore because once you catch all 3 Galarian birds, you don't really need any more. So I think the Spatial Rend effect is going to be much better to go ahead and get, and choosing the Pearl badge will probably be better. Being able to see Pokemon from further is just going to be better, and especially during big events like this, if you can use an effect like Spatial Rend, you will be able to just see more Pokemon, and catch more shinies. Now, what I will say though, is that this effect is expensive. To run this effect for 1 hour, you're going to be spending 30,000 Stardust and 30 Palkia candies. So the question is, in 1 hour, can you make up 30,000 Stardust, and can this effect end up being actually worth it, or actually going to be losing Stardust while running this effect. Now, to get 30,000 Stardust without a star piece or any bonus, that's going to be 300 Pokemon catches. So as long as you can catch 300 Pokemon in an hour, you're going to be breaking even on your investment. But overall, yeah, you still have to grind and really be focusing. And this is not an effect you're just going to go ahead and throw on and then put on your auto catcher. You really want to make sure you're getting value out of it. So yeah, overall, I would choose the Palkia one. But again, at the end of the day, you can still get a Dialga with Roar of Time and a Palkia with Spatial Rend. Even if you choose either version of the tickets, there's just a higher chance you find it. So it doesn't actually really matter which one you choose. It'll just increase the odds of finding one or the other. Now, eggs. We have a bunch of eggs during this event, and I want to talk about them. Now, although you can't really choose what eggs you really get, I still do want to mention what are going to be the best eggs to focus on and which ones are the most meta relevant. Let's get into it. Starting with the 2-kilometer eggs in here, we have Badoo, which of course evolves into Roserade, which we already talked about the meta relevance of that. We also see Munchlax in here, which Munchlax is pretty good in some limited Great League Cups, and you can also evolve into Snorlax, which is good in the Master League. Riolu is going to be in the 2K eggs, which is huge. Riolu evolves into Lucario. Lucario is a good fighting type rate attacking Pokemon, as well as being good in some limited Great League metas like the Sinnoh Cup and having a mega form in the future. Finally, Mantike, which you can evolve into Mantine, which does see play in the Great League sometimes. In the 5-kilometer eggs, the best ones will be Hisuian Voltorb evolving into Hisuian Electrode, which again, good in the Electric Cup in the Great League. Hisuian Quillfish, which is going to be good in the Halloween Cup. Skunky, which again, we already talked about this one being good, and Gibble, which again, we already talked about this meta relevancy. But that moves us into the 10-kilometer eggs, which has Pachirisu, Chatot, and Carnivine, normally regional Pokemon, but will be available globally through these eggs. Pachirisu is actually a really good Great League Pokemon as well, so that's actually a great Pokemon to hatch, but the other two aren't as meta relevant. Overall, the best egg pool, in my opinion, is going to be the 10-kilometer egg pool, just because it has those super rare regionals, and also the Pokemon hatching from the 2-kilometer eggs were actually hatching the past week or during the Road to Sinnoh event that's going down right now, so they're not as exclusive. So again, if you have limited incubators, I would probably focus on going after the 10-kilometer eggs, but again, if you have as many incubators as you want, just hatch everything just to try to cycle through as many eggs as you can. Again, you get all these eggs, by the way, from spinning Pokestops, which is great, which means you don't have to make sure we're not spinning stops and having to get 7K eggs, because I hate when events have 7K eggs exclusive. Final thing I'll mention, if you do hatch any of the baby Pokemon from the 2-kilometer eggs exclusively, it's actually cheaper to double move a baby Pokemon. So for example, double moving a Munchlax is going to be a lot cheaper than double moving a Snorlax. So definitely double move them before you evolve them if you plan on evolving them. Now, a question I've been getting a lot of is there actually any paid add-ons you can get during this event? And there's actually 3 different paid add-ons. So I quickly want to mention, are these add-ons going to be worth it? The first add-on is going to be the Masterwork Research. The Masterwork Research is a research you can go ahead and buy that will get you an encounter with a shiny Shaman. This is going to cost you $5 USD or whatever your currency is. Is it going to be worth it? Is it necessary? Not really. But it is the only way to get a shiny Shaman in Pokemon Go and probably will be forever. This is going to be a paid lock Pokemon. I also do want to mention for anyone who does plan on buying this, these researches are usually really hard. Looking at last year's research for the shiny Jirachi, we can see here, you need to catch a bunch of Pokemon from all 3 of the regions and get a gold Hoenn medal. This will probably be Sinnoh. You also need to earn hearts with your buddy 14 days in a row. You need to spin Pokestops 4 days in a row. You need to make 100 excellent throws, catch 500 Pokemon, reach level 40. If you're not level 40, these researches usually can't be complete until you hit those, and it does get you the shiny Jirachi. Again, the research for this year's Masterwork probably won't be the exact same, but it's very important to know that this research is really hard. You know, if you don't want it to be sitting there forever and you think this research is going to get you a shiny Shaman, it won't. Again, this research not necessary to buy at all. It just depends if you want a shiny Shaman or not. The next add-on we can go ahead and buy is actually going to be from the Road to Sinnoh event going down right now, but it actually does follow all the way into the Sinnoh tour. The first option is the Road to Sinnoh Raids add-on, again, costing you $5 USD. It gets you a research that you probably potentially have already completed if you've bought it, getting you a bunch of candies and Dialga candies, but more importantly, it gets you these bonuses during the Sinnoh tour. 5,000 more XP from raids, 1 extra regular candy when catching Pokemon from raids, and 2 extra raid passes every single day for a total of 3. Is this research going to be worth it? Well, this bonus itself will get you 6 free raid passes during the Sinnoh tour, which would normally cost you about $5 USD, because I believe it's like 6 passes for 500 Pokecoins. So overall, it actually is going to be worth it just because of the fact that you get your money's worth, but then on top of that, you'll get more candy for catching Pokemon and more XP for completing raids. However, if you don't plan on doing raids, obviously not going to be that worth it for you. And this is definitely not a must-have. You could also just save your $5 and buy passes straight up. There might be a bundle that's even cheaper. The second one is going to be the Road to Sinnoh Hatch bonus, again, costing you $5. It gets you some sort of research, which you probably have already completed, getting you some encounters in Pokemon, but more importantly, the bonuses, 2 times Hatch XP, 2 times Hatch Candy, and 2 times Hatch Stardust, all during the Sinnoh tour. Now, we do have half egg incubator distance already built into the Sinnoh tour, but this will just be a bunch of more bonuses. If you're going to be hatching a lot of eggs during this event, I think this bonus bonus could be great to buy, but it's definitely not necessary. You already have the half egg incubator distance built into the event, so that's really all you need if you're hatching eggs. But again, this can be an option for somebody to buy if they're planning on hatching like an insane amount of eggs and don't want to miss out on XP, Stardust, and candy. Now, bonuses are not the only way to get candy during this event, because there's actually specific tips and things you can follow to get a lot of candy. So let's run through those right now with my Pokedaxi candy tips in Pokemon Go. First of all, use pineapple berries. Regular pineapple berries multiply your catch candy by 2 and silvers by 2.34. Use pineapple berries on any of the rare spawns, especially things like unknown, things like a Gibble in the wild, which don't come around very often. Just pineapple everything that you need more candy for. You should be dumping pineapples during this event. Next up, Mega Evolving. If you don't know when you Mega Evolve a Pokemon, any Pokemon you catch that shares a type with the Mega, you'll get more candy, XP, and XL candy for catching Pokemon of that type. Now we have 4 different habitats during this event, so I'm going to break down what Mega you should have active in each different habitat. That will get you the most amount of candies. Okay, first off, the Bustling Boardwalk habitat unfortunately doesn't have the most meta-relevant spawns. The only ones I would grind XL candies for would be Magnemite, Ralts, Burmy in the Trash Cloak, and Drifloon. With that being said, I think the best Megas to Mega Evolve will be either Mega Rayquaza, getting you more XL candies for Drifloon and Ralts, Mega Pinsir, getting you more XL candies for Burmy in the Trash Cloak or Drifloon, or Mega Caesar, getting you more XL candies for Magnemite and Burmy in the Trash Cloak. Overall, there's not really a correct answer, but I prefer the Mega Rayquaza just because of the fact that it will also get you more candies for the Dialga and Palkia in the origin form, since those are dragon types if you do any raids. Next up, the Ancient Grove habitat. The best Pokemon to get XL candies for will be Rosalia, Eevee, and Bronzor. And the Mega I would probably Mega Evolve during this habitat would be Mega Sceptile. Reason being is there's just a lot of other grass spawns during this event, and Mega Sceptile is part dragon, so again, if you're doing those origin form Dialga or Palkia raids, you'll be getting more candies on top of that. So Mega Sceptile is my choice for the Ancient Grove. Next up, the Toxic Digs habitat, which is arguably one of the best. A lot of great spawns to get XL candies for here: Gligar, Shinx, Cranidos, Shieldon, Skunky, Gibble, Skorupi, and Krogunk. Overall, the best Megas in my opinion to Mega Evolve will be a Mega Rayquaza, Mega Aerodactyl, or Mega Steelix, all getting you a bunch of extra XL candies for certain Pokemon in that habitat. But again, Mega Rayquaza is going to be my choice of Mega just because I want to be getting more XL candies for any of the raids I'm doing for the origin forms of Palkia and Dialga. Finally, the Geothermal Lagoon habitat, which has a decent amount of meta-relevant Pokemon, including Lickitung, Rhyhorn, Eevee, Togetic, Swinub, Snorunt, Baneri, and Snover. In my opinion, the best Mega to Mega Evolve will be either a Mega Abomasnow, getting you more candies for some of those ice types and grass types, or Primal Groudon, which will get you more XL candies for all those ground types, fire types, and stuff like that. Again, you could also Mega Evolve a dragon type like a Mega Rayquaza if you're just planning on going after the raids. I think the best candies to really grind during this event are going to be Dialga and Palkia candies anyway. But again, let me know in the comments what you're going to be Mega Evolving for each habitat. Next up, you can go ahead and trade Pokemon. Until March 1st, it's the season of timeless travels, and every time you trade away a Pokemon, you're getting 3 regular candies and a guaranteed XL candy. So once the Sinnoh tour is over, or even after that first day, trade away any of the meta-relevant Pokemon we talked about to grind XL candies for those Pokemon. We only have until March 1st before this bonus will probably go away, so it's definitely gonna be worth to do as many trades as you can from the Sinnoh tour until then. Also, we do have the bonus of 6 special trades each day for a total of 12 special trades during the weekend and half Stardust cost from trades. So planning a bunch of lucky trades with your friends that you've been lucky friends with a while is going to be definitely essential. Also, even just mirror trading random shiny or legendary Pokemon with people you find out in the field could be great, because sometimes those can go lucky and you could potentially get Shundos. Finally, transferring Pokemon. Niantic has lined this up perfectly. On February 27th from 6 to 7 p.m. is Sandshrew Spotlight Hour with the bonus of 2 times transfer candy. If you have the space to save any of the meta-relevant Pokemon we mentioned in this video, save them until then and then transfer them then, hopefully after you've actually traded them, to get double candy on those transfers. Next up, we got to talk about Platinum Medals. You need 35 Platinum Medals to go from level 48 to 49 in Pokemon Go, and Sinnoh Tour is a great time to work on a lot of these. Again, even if you're not close to that level, it's still worth working on these now. First of all, we have all the type medals. I guarantee you every single different type of Pokemon is spawning during this event, so if you haven't platinumed 2,500 of each different type of Pokemon caught, definitely work on that. We also have the Rising Star Medal to defeat 150 species of Pokemon in raids. There's going to be a bunch of different Pokemon in raids during this event, especially things like Torterra and, Infernape that I've never raided before, but I might do one raid of them just to get you a point towards this medal. We also have egg incubator distance and some exclusive 2-kilometer eggs, so the breeder medal, hatch 2,500 Pokemon, is another great medal to go ahead and work on. You can hatch probably a lot of eggs during this event, especially because most people will be out on foot walking. We also do have exclusive Pikachus with the costumes on them, so the Pikachu fan medal, catch 1,000 Pikachus, is a great one to work on. Again, if you actually receive a Pikachu from trade, it counts towards this medal, so if your friend catches a bunch of Pikachus, they can trade them to you you, and you can get points towards this medal as well. This medal should be pretty easy to complete during this event. Now, earlier I talked about the unknowns and why they're so worth catching, and that's because the unknown medal, catch 28 different letters of the unknown, is one you can work on. You want to make sure you catch at least every single letter at least once during this event so you can get points. It sucks that we can't really know which ones we're missing. Actually, hold up. I think in the Pokedex, yeah, it does show you in the Pokedex which ones I'm missing. So I can come into the Pokedex here and see if any of the unknowns that are spawning during this event are ones I'm missing, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to catch them. We also have the Picnicker medal. Use a lure module to help any trainer catch 2,500 Pokemon. During the Sinnoh Tour, plenty of people are going to be out dropping lures, playing with lures. During the Sinnoh Tour, plenty of trainers are going to be out, so drop those lures into the busy areas. Be the first one at your local grind spot. Drop the lure. People are going to be out catching Pokemon off your lures. This is like one of the best events to work on the Picnicker medal are big events like this. And finally, the Sinnoh medal. Register all 107 Sinnoh Pokemon. We don't have all 107 Sinnoh Pokemon during this event, but obviously this is a Sinnoh-based event, so getting as many of the Sinnoh Pokemon in your Pokedex as you can is going to be great. And then all we got to do is just wait for Arceus, Manaphy, and Phione to release, and we'll be able to get them. Okay, that's the bulk of the tips, but there's still stuff we need to talk about. So next up, I want to go through my missed tips or general tips that you should be following during this event. First of all, party up with trainers during this event. There is going to be a research or some sort of way to get Regigigas through party play. So if you have local friends, make sure you just party up with them. You guys can also work on those challenges to get you extra items to catch Pokemon. By the way, when I party up with trainers, I always recommend coming into your settings here in general and turn off share location with party and see other trainers on the map. This setting really makes the game lag and causes all sorts of issues, so I recommend turning off these party play settings. Next up, if you get the Palkia with the adventure effect of Spatial Rend, make sure you use that during this event. You can get a lot more spawns from running Palkia and having that increased spawn radius during this event, so it can definitely be worth it. If you catch a Palkia with Spatial Rend, consider actually using that adventure effect. Next up, clear your eggs the day before. We have exclusive eggs during this event. If you don't know, you actually need to get the eggs during the event to hatch into the exclusive egg hatches. So if the day before, you can go ahead and go out for a run, go out for a walk, hatch all of your eggs, and then do not spin a Pokestop before the event starts. When the event starts, you can fill up all your eggs, start hatching and getting those exclusive Pokemon. Also, make sure you have at least a great buddy as your buddy during the event. If you end up messing up some throws, your great buddy has a bonus that can make it so it bounces back the Pokeball, which can be great in a pinch when you end up messing a couple throws up during the Sinnoh Tour. It's just good common courtesy to have a great buddy all the time as your buddy. And finally, of course, clear your storage and have a lot of Pokeballs ready. I'm going to link below videos on how to clear your storage and how to stock up Pokeballs. I hope you've done this by now because Sinnoh Tour is really, really close. But again, you want to make sure you have a lot of Pokeballs and a lot of storage space before this event. And finally, it brings us into the final section of the video, which I'm going to break down the day start tutorial on what you should do. When the day starts, how should you go ahead and grind this day? And what are the best ways to lay out your day? First of all, when the day starts, I always recommend putting on a timer to go ahead and pop all of your instances, all of your star pieces, and all of your lucky eggs if you plan on using lucky eggs and star pieces. It's really stupid when you pop one incense and then completely forget later that you've been running 3 hours without incense. When the day starts, pop 8 instances, pop 8 hours of incense so you do not have to touch it for the rest of the day. Also, make sure you go ahead and mega evolve a Pokemon and maybe put on a timer to go ahead and change your mega every single hour. Some people probably won't be doing this, and again, you can just mega evolve one Pokemon for the full day like a Mega Rayquaza, but you could also just put notifications on your phone every hour and says, hey, just change my mega so I'm getting extra candies for different Pokemon. Also, again, if you do have the Palkia with Spatial Rend, consider putting on that adventure effect because that could get you more spawns during the day. Now, how I break down my days in these two types of events is going to be on the first day. I'm always going to focus on completing all the research and as much research as I can. All those research tasks for, the wild spawns or for the masterwork research or whatever, try to focus on doing those on the first day so that on the second day, you can focus on the catches and the raids that you want to do. I will say though, for this event, it's going to be a little bit weird because the origin forms of Palkia and Dialga, which probably everybody wants, are only rotating every single 2 hours. So maybe during 1 hour, you focus on the catches, and then when the Palkia and Dialga raids come in, you focus on those kind of thing. Finally, once you've done all that, make sure you're using the AR mode and the quick catch technique during this event. It's going to allow you to catch Pokemon so much faster and get so much out of your event more, and also connect your auto catcher to auto catch Pokemon or even auto spin Pokestops while you manually catch Pokemon. That's just regular gameplay stuff, but again, I'll link below videos on how to do this stuff if you don't know what I'm talking about. The final thing I want to mention, and probably the most important thing of this video, is going to be have fun. I know I make these videos where it's all about grinding and how to be the most efficient, but at the end of the day, if you're not having fun in a game like Pokemon Go, you're kind of missing the point. The whole point of these games is to have fun, have a good time, and enjoy and make great memories. So I hope you guys are going to do that and make sure that's your main focus of the day. Limit your expectations. A lot of people always go into these events and be like, oh, I'm going to get so many shinies, or they watch all these YouTubers that go to these global live events like LA and stuff, where the shiny rates are just way more boosted and they expect to have that experience. I think if you just limit your expectations and go in with the one goal of having fun, it's gonna be a lot more enjoyable than you, instead of leaving the day with a sour taste in your mouth because you didn't get, you know, that shiny you wanted or that hundo you wanted or, you know, 1,000 shinies. That's just things that I've been doing that have definitely helped with my mental health going into these events. Guys, that is it. That is the Sinnoh tour tips and tricks. I hope you guys have an amazing time during this event. You can come tune in to me. I'm gonna be streaming this event on the event day, so definitely go ahead and check that out if you wanna see what this event is like or something to watch while you're grinding the event yourself. Appreciate you all as always. Thank you guys for another amazing season of Pokemon Go. Follow for more tips. Peace.